man, the last couple of years, Carter has really come on strong, and I see a lot of myself in him. I mean, surprise, surprise, I'm his dad. But as far as the job that he does on the farm and his thought process, I definitely say that he's farther along in his maturity and understanding and intelligence at 17 years old than I was.
Gonna go crimp that farm right behind the shop. We got my sunflowers in the ground Saturday. We applied 18,000 seeds per acre with, I think we applied at the time 30 pounds of nitrogen per acre as well. So that means I need to go in with probably another 50 to 80 pounds of nitrogen, probably like midsummer. Probably about June or July would probably be the best time to do that. But not only that, we got our fields sprayed with herbicides and another shot of Roundup. But on my farms, we have roughly 6 acres of sunflowers, 5 to 6 acres. And then we're gonna do 2 acres of brown top millet. We're gonna do that in about June, mid-June. So, because it has a 60-day maturity rate, so I want it to be ready around September 1st around that first week of whenever opening day is. And then we're not gonna go plant any corn. I just don't have time for that. On my buddy's field, he planted 2 acres of sunflowers, and then he's gonna go in with another 1.5 acres. So all together we have 8 to 9 acres of sunflowers in a 1 mile radius, 1.5 mile radius, with 4 big ponds in the 1.5 mile radius. So our doves have a lot of water. They have a lot of water they can get to. There's a lot of coverage for them they can get in. They have 3 to 4 different fields they can use whenever they want to. There's a bunch of cornfields around here that they're going to be cut as well. We will see the dove population start jumping after we cut the wheat fields. I notice that every year around here. You'll start seeing doves start, getting together around whenever we cut the wheat fields and whatnot. But come opening day, we're all gonna be spread out on the fields, so it's gonna be real nice. And we're like on my fields, I'm only gonna cut half of it first week, and then the next week I'll probably cut the other half, just depending on how much the doves eat it up at a time. But I just figured I'd let y'all know on that, the little plots that I've been doing. But I figured I'd let y'all know. We're gonna go get over here on the roller crimper and get this field done. Someone needs to come buy that freaking bush hog. I'm tired of looking at it. I got my snacks for the day. I got some popcorn. We got a honeycomb in there too. Like that. Looks like Dad already got the inrows sorted out. Let's see what we're working with today. Maybe I'll be able to turkey hunt this now that the cover crop's down. Well, let's go figure out where I need to get set up and get to work.
Well, we got moved over here behind the gin, and you can tell Carter got the rest of this crimped, and I'm glad he did. It's going to save me from having a super late night. As it is, it's 7 o'clock. I should be done with this hopefully by around 8:30, 8:45 or so. But if I'd had to come back and crimp this, I mean, we'd be looking at 10:30 probably. And as it is, when we get done planting this field, got to get back, get everything serviced, and got to get everything serviced and ready to go tomorrow, so we don't have to waste a bunch of daylight getting that stuff done in the morning. Andy actually cut out several hours ago, and Kelly, I believe, is just now, yep, I see her there. She's pulling into the shop. She just wrapped up the rest of the post-emerge herbicide on the corn, so she's going to pull the Roundup and the atrazine tanks off and put the paraquat and warrant tanks on, because that's what we're using on cotton. And then when I get done, I want to get the pumps for those things calibrated. I don't think I'm going to bother greasing the planter or the crimper. I mean, you know, reality, I only use both of them about a half a day, so I should be able to get one more day on them before you know, giving them a good greasing and service. Well, we got one more pass on that side and we'll be done. It is 10 after 8. We got through this just a little bit quicker than I thought we did. Get home a little bit earlier. Overall, I mean, for the most part, I've been out here working by myself, with the exception of Carter helping out for a couple hours. But first day of cotton planting has gone really smoothly. I'm really pleased. I mean, we got great planting conditions, we got moisture, we got warm temperatures on the way, no rain on the way for the next 6-7 days. My burn down strips, us coming back and making that second application has made all the difference. We got clean strips. My freshly rebuilt row cleaners are planting into planting into fresh dirt, moving everything out of the way. I mean, we got all the benefits of high biomass cover crop without the negatives of high biomass cover crop. I'm super pleased with how planting has gone today, and I mean, I'm not going to say this is going to come up to a perfect stand, but there's really no reason for it to not come up to a perfect stand. So anyway, we're about to fold up, head into the gym, get things ready for tomorrow, and be ready for another big day tomorrow. Don't have any other crops to focus on. Me and Kelly and Carter, when he gets out of school, can focus solely on planting cotton. I really don't know what my goal is going to be tomorrow, but it's going to be a few more acres than today. So anyway, we'll see y'all back out here tomorrow morning. Well, back for another big day of cotton planting. I'm back on the crimper again, trying to get a few acres laid down before I go hop on the planter. Kelly's out in the sprayer spraying the next field burn down, and we're going to be tag teaming it again here on the crimper today. Hopefully Carter will be able to help whenever he gets out of school. This blasted field right here, we ripped it. I actually ripped it twice last fall because it was so badly compacted. It pulled this tractor harder than any other field I pulled. And I mean, when that ripper was going through, I mean, it was just pulling up blocks of soil. This little like 3-acre field right here is real sandy, and you think sand doesn't compact. But I guess when it's mixed with the right amount of silt and clay, it absolutely can. And it was, boy, it was hard. And now, I mean, I'm paying the penalty. It's rougher than a cob out here, even after mellowing out all winter long. But anyway, I really don't know what to expect to get done today. I've got a pretty lofty goal. I mean, I'd love to get maybe around 80 acres done. I don't know if that's going to be achievable or not. We'll just have to see how the day plays out. Well, we got this farm, and then we got to move up to Madison County to plant one field, and then move back here. And the reason we're moving around so much is because that's where I decided I wanted to put the variety. We've got Phytogen 360 loaded in our planter, and I wanted to put it specifically on a field in Madison County. So we're going to travel up there and get that 30 acres, then come on back here to the shop. And by the time we get moved back here to the shop, it'll be time to change varieties again. So we'll have to stop and fill the planter up. So honestly, I don't know what to expect out of today. We're going to get everything done we can though. So anyway, I'm gonna get this 12-acre farm crimped, and then the one in Madison County about 30 acres, and that'll give me enough to work on. I'll hop on the planter and wait and see if Carter can run this thing once he gets out of school. Y'all see all that dust coming up off the crimper there? It's more dust than normal. You can see it all over my back glass, and I just washed my back glass off an hour or so ago. I got down there and looked at the rye, and there's some spots in the field here that rye is absolutely covered up with rust, which is a disease. It's a disease that affects cereal grains, and that's what rye is. And normally I could care less. It doesn't matter to me if the rye's got disease in it or not, but if you remember, we didn't spray our wheat with a fungicide this year because conditions were not very conducive to disease development. Well, the same rust that affects the rye can also affect the wheat crop, so kind of got me a little concerned for our wheat crop. I know when I was out there, I don't know, about 5 days ago, looking at my wheat crop, I saw just a little touch of rust starting in a few places, and I thought, well, if that's the way it looks, it's coming in late enough, it's not going to affect yield. It's not going to have enough time to blow up and really affect the plant enough to affect yield before the wheat's mature. But maybe I need to scout a little bit harder, because the last couple of weeks, we've had conditions that have been a lot more conducive to having disease than what they were when I made the decision not to spray a fungicide. We've had a couple of bouts of rain and stuff, so while it's still probably been a little bit drier than normal, it hasn't been bone dry like it was earlier. So saying this kind of got me questioning my decision a little bit on whether to spray wheat or not. Although right now at this point, I'm super glad that we sprayed that test plot on one of my wheat fields where Kelly sprayed a couple strips of a fungicide, and we'll be able to harvest inside the sprayed part and outside the sprayed part, and we'll actually be able to put a number on whether I made the right decision or not. But in the meantime, man, I hope we don't have rust blowing up in my wheat, because that's the last thing we need on a pretty dang good looking wheat crop. Well, Carter got out of school a little earlier than normal today, and just told him to go ahead and bring my planter over here. I'm gonna start on a little bit different field than where I started crimping. Save me from having to drive back and forth. All right, we got done with Tom Edwards and got over here to my cousin Josh's farm, and this is where a few days ago Carter planted his sunflowers. So we're back here close to sunflower patch. Y'all want to go see how well Carter's first ever crop is germinating? All right, I don't see any popping up yet, but that doesn't surprise me. We was planting them about an inch and a half deep. And today is, what's the day? Today's Wednesday. We planted them Saturday. Not only that, it's been a little bit cool, so see how close they are to coming up. He planted them at 18,000, so they're gonna be spaced pretty far apart. Those sunflowers look, oh, there it is, right there. There it is right there, I believe. It's right there, close to popping the top. There's another one right there. It's a fine looking healthy seedling right there. I think Carter's gonna be mighty proud with that. I'm gonna take a picture and send it to him. All right, enough time scratching around. We still got some catch up to do. Carter's been working on crimping there at the home place, and Kelly's been spraying in front of them. And tell you what, Kelly's been a trooper today. She don't know if she got some food poisoning or what last night, but she's been sick as a dog all day today, but yet she's still toughing it out. Been on the sprayer because A lot of times I can do 2 jobs at once. I can't do 3 jobs at once, and she's toughing it out to make sure we get our cotton planted. Do y'all remember the last several weeks about how I was talking about it's too cold to plant cotton, and then yesterday I said, you know, it was even still a little too cool to plant cotton, but it's supposed to start warming up, but we really needed a soil temperature around 65 degrees to get cotton up and going. Look at my soil temperature right there. We finally got to a good soil temperature for cotton. Now, looking at all of this residue, this biomass that we're planting into, you know, it can kind of be a double-edged sword when it comes to soil temperatures. And that's why a lot of farmers have issues with planting green like we do. Because typically in the spring, your soils are a lot more slower to warm up to get to that optimal temperature. But like I said, it's a double-edged sword. While yes, our soils are slower to warm up, once they get to temperature, we don't see near as much temperature fluctuation in our soils during planting season as you would, say, a conventional till or no-till environment, because we got all this insulation on top of the soil, you know, trapping that heat in. So yeah, it might take a few more days to get the soil up to the temperature that we want to plant, but say we have a cold front come through, you know, it dips down pretty cold a couple of nights, we don't see our soil temperature falling back down near as much as what your traditional conventional till or no-till farmer sees. But not only at planting do we see these cover crops, you know, modulating soil temperatures. Where it really comes into play and is strictly a big benefit is during the summer. You know, when we get in June, July, we got temperatures 90 to 100 degrees. That sun is hitting the soil. Shut up. We can easily see soil temperatures, you know, 100, 110 degrees. And when we see soil temperatures 100, 110 degrees, that can be extremely detrimental to your soil microorganisms and also your plant's roots. You know, I read somewhere that pretty much all summer annuals, their roots are most effective and function best at soil temperatures between 85 and 90 degrees. So you can only imagine, you know, when it's 100, 110 degrees out there, your plant is suffering stress. Now, most all of us can identify stress in the above ground part of the plant when we get into, say, heat stress or drought stress, but we don't think about the stress that's being caused underneath the soil. And about 50% of the plant's mass is actually beneath the soil. Now, we can't do anything about the, you know, heat stress above the soil. I mean, that's Mother Nature. We can't do anything for that. But as farmers, we can do things to influence the amount of stress that the plant's roots see from, you know, heat during the middle of the summer. And we do that by what you see out here. All of this residue out here will effectively block all that solar radiation from hitting the soil and will really help modulate the soil temperatures all throughout the growing season, you know, letting our plant's roots be a whole lot more effective all throughout the growing season. So while the above ground part of the plant might see heat and drought stress, the below the ground part of the plant is surviving and functioning a lot better to help keep the above ground part of the plant functioning a whole lot better and mitigating the stress in the entire plant. So I've touted the weed control abilities of all these cover crops for quite a while, but that's not the only benefit we see. You know, mitigating stress on the plant in the growing season is also a big part of it. Now, does all this residue create a lot bigger headache and a lot more management early in the season trying to get your crop established? I ain't no doubt about that. I mean, it can be an absolute headache, and it does require, you know, fitting a lot of pieces of puzzle together. But if we never get that crop established, the rest of the season is so much easier to manage the crop. And then not only that, we have a whole lot lower risk on our crop for the rest of the season.
All right, it's the next day out here trying to figure out which got its lines. Yep, right on the money. Y'all give me a second, I'm just trying to do some math. Alright, so right here at this farm, trying to get some GPS set up, but this is one of the farms that I deer hunt a lot, and it is, let's just say I've jumped up a couple of deer coming in here. But so of course while I'm working, there's a deer down there and a big old gobbler down there. I can see him, his beard from here. That deer's just walking like she don't care. And there's 2 more deer. Alright, so there's 3 does, and one of them could be a buck. Yeah, they've already dropped their antler. That's a big son of a gun right there. Let's see how close we can get up to him. I think I've already got like 50 acres on, something like that. Really do not know. So now we got the proper guidance line set up. We can finally get started. These deer are right here. They're just, what are they doing? What are we doing? Where'd they go? Well, now y'all wanna hide? Come on now. Y'all are just right here, having a good time. Oh, come on. Get that bull crap out of here. Alright, now we can get this set up. Wait for GPS. This is what I've been dealing with all day. This, come on. Oh, it ran. That makes more sense now. I'm stupid. Okay. Y'all, I was having a moment. That's not gonna... So, whoever set up these guidance lines on this part of the field needs to be looked at, because goodness gracious, you need some help. It took me 20 minutes to figure it out. There we go now. We're running right. Chopping some grass down. We're gonna try to finish this field before it gets dark. I doubt we will.
All right, we just got done with Josh's farm and stopped back here at the gym because we got to make a pit stop. It's time for us to load up with some more seed. Looks like we got probably a total about a half of a bag, maybe a little bit more than that, left in our hoppers, which right in line with what my calculations were on what we needed to plant the acres that we did. All right, we're not quite done with our Phytogen 360 seed. We still got one more farm of it to plant, but that farm we're going to have University of Tennessee's variety plots on, and frankly right now I don't have the time or the manpower to do the plots, so that's just going to have to wait till the end, till hopefully Andy gets back, and we'll swap back to that variety. Right now, because of limited manpower, I just need to focus on getting as much seed in the ground as possible. So we're done with all the farms. We're going to put 360 on except for the test plot farm. So our next variety right here is going to be Delta Pine 2115. So I hollered at Carter on the radio, get him to come back in, help me get loaded up with seed. He's a pretty good ways out in front of me, and when we get back in the tractor, talk a little bit more about some cotton varieties. Now we should have 35 bags of Delta Pine 2115 right here, and normally I just go ahead and load them all in the planter, or maybe all of them except for one. But seeing as how, again, limited manpower, I can't plant the amount of acres a day that I normally can, and we're also mixing in our micro knock in with our cottonseed. This is a living organism, and I don't know how long it would survive on the seed without getting in the soil. You know, I'm only going to put part of this seed in here, mix our micro knock in, and hopefully that'll be in what I put in today should be enough to run us the rest of the afternoon today and then tomorrow, and then we'll load up with the rest of our seed, mix in some more micro knock in with it, and hopefully keep these microorganisms alive and healthy until I can get them in the soil. So right now we're going to put 2 bags in each hopper, 24 bags total, and that should be enough to keep me going the rest of this afternoon, and it should keep me going tomorrow also. Well, here we are on the home place. We got 60 acres here that I'm gonna do my best to get this whole farm done today. Don't know if it'll be possible. It's about 6:20, so we're going to work pretty late to get it done. But if I get that done, that means we've gotten just a shade over 100 acres done today. But I didn't have to stay on the crimper as long today because Carter got out of school, so I'm gonna try and make hay while I can. But Carter's just came back over here. You can see him up there. He's got a pretty dang good ways on this farm, so there's no risk at all of me catching up with him today. And this is the first farm Carter has crimped this year where he's done the entire field. Yesterday, all he did was a field I'd already laid off, done all the inrows and everything. And I know me and Andy have talked in the past about how critical it is that the guy running the roller crimper rolls this cover crop the right way. You got to get 2 consecutive passes going the same way and alternating back and forth. You know, the main part of the field's not that difficult, but all the inrows, because the inrows are doing this on our field. We ain't got a square field anywhere. And we got all of our guidance lines saved on the monitor. I've got them all named, but you know, I'm the one that created the guidance lines. I'm the one that did the burn down strips. And when you're out here in this tall cover crop, it's really hard to tell exactly where the burn down strips are, and you only got one chance to roll that crop the right way. If you mess it up, it's laid down in the direction that it's going to be. So for the planter to work optimally, I mean, it's critical that it be done right. And for someone who's never planted before, had only run the roller crimper a little bit last year in primarily bigger fields with easy to decipher inroads and stuff. You know, I was really worried about how good of a job Carter could do crimping this cover crop, but so far, I mean, we're in one of those odd shaped fields. It's got 3 sets of inrows, you know, winding around terraces and everything else. And I basically told him, you know, when you're laying off the field, just think about like the order that you would plant it. I'm gonna do this inrow, then I'm gonna plant this side, I'm gonna do this inrow, and so on. Just imagine how you plant it yourself, and you know, that's about the best that's about the best that you can do. But the way that he would decide to plant the field and the way I would decide to plant the field, not necessarily the same way. You know, I've got a lot of years of experience planting. He doesn't. But I gotta say, my initial impression on this first field, I mean, he laid it off pretty much perfectly. You know, there's only one set of inrows that he rolled a different direction than what I would have. But other than that, I mean, it was like he's done a fantastic job. You know, running the roller crimper in this kind of biomass, running the correct way, it's every bit as critical as the job of actually putting the seed in the ground. Because if you don't roll it the right way, that planter's not going to put the seed in the ground. I don't care how good the planter operator is. You know, a couple years ago, you know, I kind of wondered, you know, whether Carter had what he needed to farm, whether he even wanted to farm, whether he even liked agriculture or whatever. You know, I had all those questions, but I gotta say, man, the last couple of years, Carter has really come on strong, and I see a lot of myself in him. I mean, surprise, surprise, I'm his dad. But I see a lot of the qualities of like the way we think, our thought process, thinking it out a certain way and coming up with the same conclusions. He's also got a lot of my same qualities that I had when I was a teenager. Namely, he's a hothead, he gets angry easy and everything else, but I'm sure a whole lot of us could say the same thing when we were a teenager too, and it's just something that all you need to do is just grow up a little bit and mature, and a lot of that works out of you. But as far as the job that he does on the farm and his thought process, I definitely say that he's farther along in his maturity and understanding and intelligence at 17 years old than I was. And ultimately, I don't know what his career is going to be, what he's going to want to do with his life, but I got the utmost confidence that if he decides to, carry on the family business, I think he could be extremely successful at it. I don't mean he's going to get rich at it though. I don't know of anybody getting rich at farming, but I think he'd do a dang good job, and I think he'd run a real good business. Now let's talk a little bit about cotton varieties. I told you I'd talk a little bit about them when we was filling up, but anyway, that Phytogen 360 that we just got done planting, I've been planting for quite a few years. I'm a big fan of it. It's just one of those varieties that just makes you feel good about the cotton. It's a real showy cotton. It stacks a lot of the bolls in close to the stalk. It's a little bit more compact plant, and when it opens up, I mean, it's just hanging out, begging to be picked. It's one of those real showy varieties. It's not necessarily the best yielding variety out there, even though the best cotton I've ever made has been with Phytogen 360. But if you look at all the plot data and everything, it's not necessarily the best yielding variety out there, but it is a very solid, good, all-around, go-anywhere variety. It's also a non-thrive-on variety, so it's definitely going to be cheaper per acre to plant. Probably, I think around $23–24 an acre cheaper to plant than what the competitors' thrive-on varieties are. We're saving money there. That thrive-on technology, I mean, it's great, and I mean, it works, especially early season on thrips, but we found out that with our environment that the thrive-on does not save us an insect spray for thrips. We don't have to spray for thrips, but we got to spray for three-corner alfalfa hoppers, which is a secondary pest we're seeing in our cover crops because we got a green bridge out there. It's a pest we didn't even really know we existed until we started raising thrive-on, and then we weren't having to spray for thrips, and then we had three-corner alfalfa hoppers starting to hurt our stand. And then late season plant bug control, which is really what thrive-on is for. I mean, we did see a little bit less spraying, maybe one less spray per year with the thrive-on technology, but is it worth the extra $23–24 an acre for us? Probably not. Now, if we didn't have to spray for three-corner alfalfa hoppers, yes, it would probably most definitely be worth it. Now, the variety that we're planting now is Delta Pine 2115. It's another non-thrive-on variety, so it's going to be significantly cheaper, but it's got different characteristics than what 360 does. For one thing, in my experience, I've only grown it 2 years, but looking at test plots, it's going to yield a little bit better than what the Phytogen 360 will. However, all year long, it's one of those varieties that you think, man, this cotton ain't no good. It's not a showy variety. It's a little bit more spread out. The bolls are spread farther apart, and then when it opens up, the cotton is held in the hull a lot tighter, so it's not really flashy. It's just not, you don't see a ton of white out there in the field. But when you get your gin tickets back, that's where it really shows out. It's a really high yielder, and it's been proven for quite a few years. The way Delta Pine numbers their cotton is the first two numbers is the year that it was released. So 2115 was released in 2021, so this is its 5th year with it. We got a lot of data on it, and it's another very solid go anywhere variety, high yielder, and it's also coming at a lower cost per acre because it's non-thrive on. So that's the variety we got in the planter. Right across the road we got 360. This side of the road we got 2115. I guarantee you when we defoliate them, there's going to be a night and day difference in the way they look. I want to think that the one across the road is going to completely out yield on this side of the road. But when we get our gin tickets back, I'll be surprised if this one doesn't out yield the other side a little bit more. But we like to spread our risk around, so that's why we plant 2 different varieties on either side of the road rather than just one variety, because you just don't never know which one's going to yield more in a year. And then the third variety we got, which we'll be planting later on, is Delta Pine 2414. Like the number suggests, it was released in 2024. It is a thrive-on variety, and I'm not necessarily planting it because it is a Thrive On variety. I'm planting it because it's a newer variety, and it's shown to be a really good yielder, and it's going on some of our best ground. But the reason we're planting it, not only because it's newer and because it's Thrive On, it's because, well, pretty much all of Delta Pine seed is going to be Thrive On at some point. These older varieties like 2115, eventually, I don't know when, but eventually, I mean, they're going to be weeded out, and I mean, we're going to have to go to newer varieties. So we're trying to keep up with the technologies. We're trying to keep up with the germplasm, with the newer stuff, what's good, what's not so good, and so on. But another big reason that I'm not really hot to trot about spending extra money for the Thrive On technology is because there's been a new insecticide that's being released this year, and the name of it slips my mind, but it's supposed to be absolutely fantastic on plant bugs and stink bugs, and could potentially give us a 28-day control period, whereas normally 2 weeks max is what we get control on insects, plant bugs and stink bugs in season. We're normally having to spray once every 2 weeks. We could potentially skip one complete insecticide application this year with this insecticide. I mean, all the experts, University Extension, I mean, they say that this insecticide is the real deal, and it's a little pricey, but for what it does, it's actually pretty dang cheap. I think the cost is going to be somewhere around $20 an acre, whereas a lot of times for a good plant bug application, I'm spending $12, $13 an acre at least, if not a little more. So I don't have a problem spending $20 an acre and then being able to park the sprayer for a complete month. I've got no problem with that at all. So that's kind of rendering, the Thrive On technology, I'm not going to say useless, but it's not going to be near as beneficial to me with this new insecticide as what it would be without the insecticide. That's about 8:45. We still going. And when I say we, I mean Carter too. I told him if you need to go home and study or go to bed, if you got school tomorrow, go ahead. He said he wanted to stay out here and crimp, so he getting her done. I think he can get this farm wrapped up if he sticks around long enough. In about 30 minutes. He's just got one more field on the other side of the creek to do, but he doesn't have to do the whole field because that's where I got my adaptive management plots with cover crops, and a lot of those plots don't have a winter cover crop planted on it, so he should be able to get done pretty quick. All right, it's about 9:30. We're going to call it a night. We just got caught up to as much as Carter got crimped. I told him about 30 minutes ago he needed to go home, go to bed. He's got an early meeting at school tomorrow that he cannot be late for. So we had a heck of a day. We almost got this farm done. We got one more 8-acre field to get done, but I didn't want Carter to be out here any later than he was. That's fine. I got more done today than what I was initially planning on, so that's a good day. We'll get this farm finished up in the morning. Besides, I still got a lot of work tonight. Need to carry this on in, fill the tractor up with fuel and def, grease, and service the planter, grease the roller crimper, make sure it's filled up with fuel and all that good stuff. So that's going to take probably at least an hour and a half anyway. So anyway, day 2 of cotton planting was a big success. Hopefully day 3 of cotton planting goes just as good as day 2 did. See y'all back out here in the morning.